And we are live. We are live on
Awesome.
Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter today, as usual. But we will give us a second to see who can hop in here, if anyone hops in here. And then we will get going. Oh, you know what? Let
You
me
ready
share
for the
this.
change of the weather?
No.
Snowing week.
Hard pass. Hard pass. Hard pass.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
see
not
here.
super excited about the snow.
Yeah, but hey, we'll deal with it. But it'll be fun to play. Oh, we've got 3 guys on, it looks like. Let me share this into EIA, and we will get going.
Awesome.
Oh, we got 4. Man, we got all sorts of people here. Oh, that's not push that button. Almost end the live stream, guys. I apologize. I want to share into there it is. Boom. Okay. All right, guys. I think we're going to dive straight into it. First off, thanks for all 4 of you being here right off the bat. That's awesome. But as usual, if you guys can help us get some more reach by liking and sharing and commenting, that would be awesome. The more comments and things we get, the more the algorithm likes us, as always. But yes, first off, Joseph is off doing some things for his family today. So he will not be joining us, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll just get that out of the way. But he'll be back next week. We've got an awesome show next week that we've been working on for the last couple of weeks. Some really big announcements for us that I think the community will love. But this week, because Joseph is gone, we have got Ammon from Legacy Airsoft. I think most of you guys know him already. But we're super excited to talk to him a little about what he does in his business and the opportunities coming up and stuff like that. But first off, we want to talk about the upcoming games. And while I pull up my calendar to know exactly all the things coming up. So is there a game this weekend?
There is. Yeah.
Where and when is that? What are the details there?
Yeah. So we're going to do a build day up at Midway. This build and play. So
Okay.
come and work in the morning. We're going to start about 10 o'clock. I'll be there earlier than that if someone wants to be there earlier. But
cool.
We're going to work for a couple hours. We're going to fortify some of the trench works, and we're going to spend the day to kind of clean up some of the trash that's out on the field. Like not trash from players, but it was an old junkyard. So
there's just stuff out there.
Random scrap metal, and you'll randomly try to push through a bush, and then you'll find that it's full of barbed wire. So we're going to spend the day removing that kind of stuff, those hazards from the field, and then fortifying a lot of the trench systems and stuff like that. And then as a result of that, then we'll start a game up at 3 o'clock. Check-in will be at 2 with chrono and stuff. If you come and work for the day, that game's going to be free tomorrow night.
Ooh, that's a good perk. There you go.
So come work for a couple hours and you just get a free game. So, and then if you don't want to come work and you still want to come play, it's just regular pricing. Then it comes into effect of the regular game after that. So that's this weekend. Cool. Then tomorrow we have that pistol competition at Advantage.
Yeah, we're super excited about it. It's I'll be at this one tomorrow for sure. I'm super excited to come back. Joseph has done an absolutely great job hosting those, and I've heard nothing but great things. So I'm really excited to get out there and hopefully actually now that we know how to use the brackets a little better, I'll actually be able to compete, which I didn't get to do last time because I messed up the brackets. So that was super fun. But I'm really excited for tomorrow. Hopefully we have a good time and good turnout. So I know last time we had like 15 or 20 people or something. It was a really good turnout. So
we had a great turnout. It was great.
And it is pistol this week, not carbine. Carbine will be next week. So just keep that in mind. But as usual, we will be going over safety stuff. Make sure you bring a holster or some kind of case or bag to keep it in. We'll be enforcing all those safety things like we have in the past few weeks. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, so we've got that coming up. Next week, I'm on the wrong calendar. Let me switch my calendar so I have the right one so I know what's going on. You think I'd be prepared while I'm doing this? Yeah, so we've got so next week we've got the carbine competition on Wednesday, and then the 28th on, so not this Saturday but next Saturday, we've got the Operation Return to the Farm, which is hosted by Angry Unit 1. Should be a really, really, really good time. It's a free game. They put a ton of effort into it. You guys in previous live streams have seen the vast amount of giveaway stuff they have for raffles and things. So that should be super fun. It's at a field that we haven't played at in years. So if you haven't been around EIA for the last like 3-4 years, you probably haven't played there. So it should be super, super fun to get out and do that. And then something that is super exciting that is brand new that we're doing in 2 weeks is so it'll be not next week, but I guess the week after will be our first medical training. So this is the Stop the Bleed class. It's a totally free training, but it's all learning the basic medical stuff of learning how to stop bleeding, because we want to keep the red stuff on the inside of the body, not on the outside of the body, is what I've learned over the years. And so that's a really well-known class throughout the country. Again, that is totally free. That'll be starting, I believe, at 7:30. At Advantage, we'll be using the same place we do the competition in. And so that's super exciting us for starting to branch out into more of that training side of things, which is super fun. And then lastly, so this is going out again in 2 weeks. So this is on the 4th of November. One of my buddies is coming out to do thermal video for us. And so we're going to be doing a game at Midway that night. If you're not familiar with what thermal video is, I'm sure most of you guys have seen it around, but it's basically being able to see heat signatures. And so he's got a thermal drone. So we're going to be able to fly this thing over the top of Midway and see everyone out on the field moving around and shooting and all that stuff. It's going to look super, super cool. So we want to get a lot of people out to that. And so if you can make that, we would love it. What time are we starting that on that day, Ammon, on the 4th? Do you know off the top of your head?
It's right now we'll probably want to get started. We'll start and go a little bit in the earlier days, let people warm up before the night really hits. We'll probably get started, in 2 weeks. It's going to get darker even earlier than it is now. So we'll probably start at something like 4:00 at the very latest, kind of a 3-4 o'clock, and we'll just carry it on. We'll do it as if it's one session instead of a two. It's just going to be a night session. So in terms of how that's going to work, I'm really excited. So we have this last week, we had trail cams scattered around Midway.
Really?
And man, once the night game hit, the videos we got of people with the night vision on those cameras was so much fun. And we'll be putting up some of that content and adding it into both the Advantage stuff and into our stuff. And it was so much fun to have that. And the thermal video is going to be like everything we have photo wise so far. It's going to top everything else we've ever done. We're super excited to have that opportunity.
That's going to be super cool. Oh, Trevor, because I know you're watching, you should definitely bring your night vision recorder as well that day, and I'll shoot you some messages about that later. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to just be some really cool stuff. We're planning on using that for some advertising and things. And I think it's just going to really kind of be able to show a cool aspect of Airsoft that we don't usually get to see from this kind of angle. So I don't know. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Then the other event that's coming up, when we're a couple weeks away from that, we have Joseph and I, but we're working on it together, is for a World War II themed game on December 9th. It's going to be totally awesome, guys. So some of you came, some of the people that hopefully are watching this came to the Vietnam game we had at the island this year. And I mean, we put the American team went through a gauntlet even to get onto the field at that game. And so it's going to be kind of similar, where it's going to be a lot of squad based stuff, a lot of there's going to be missions involved. You have to get to this point on the field and gather this intelligence, kind of that kind of gameplay where you're gathering intel. And, for those that are history buffs, we have the line at Ardennes is what we're calling it. And it's part of the Battle of the Bulge. So that game's on December 9th. And so it's the Battle of the Bulge was, one of the massive battles of World War II where both sides were pushing on each other. And we're going to do the same thing. You have Americans are going to be pushing Germans, and the Germans are going to push back. And we have a lot of fun little quirks we're going to add to the gameplay to make it as close as you can. And I talked with Joseph about it. If you come in a World War II kit, so that's gun, costume, the works. That can be either German, that can be American, British, World War II, European theater kit. You come kitted up, you're in for free. Totally free to play. Come kitted up. If you don't have a kit, come out and play. We're not going to do a weapons restriction and say, hey, you don't have a M1 rifle, you can't play. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We recognize the guys are going to be out there with AK-47s and M4s. It's not truly time specific, but come out and play. Dress warm. It's going to be December. It's going to be cold. That's what the Battle of the Bulge was. So we're excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are there any restrictions on uniforms or anything like that, or anything, or is it all free game?
There's going to be some restrictions based on what team you're going to be on.
Okay.
So the Americans are going to be in, green and khaki fatigues in the same style that the Americans would have been. Whereas the Germans are going to be anything that's white, gray, multicam, anything like that. Those are going to end up being, you're going to be on the German team. And so if you come thinking you're going to be on the American team and you've got a white hoodie, you're on the German team. Uniforms, and we will send out sign-up sheets so we can balance teams as people sign on and say, hey, these people are on the American team, these teams are on the German team, and we'll balance, and we'll keep the teams fairly well balanced. We'll want the American team to probably be a little bit outnumbered, just the way try to keep that as realistic as kind of how it was as it was. And we'll have some high speed we'll be calling out. Between Joseph and I, we'll be asking, some of the higher guys that have been in the community for a while, say, hey, we need you to be a squad leader and lead one of these squads, whether that be Caleb or Nico or Trevor or something like that. Say, hey, you're a squad leader and you're going to have your 5 guys that you're going to have to take care of the whole game, and we'll issue you orders and you're going to have to go figure out how to get that done. You might need to go conquer the forest trail. We're not going to tell you how to do it as the commander. We're just going to tell you how to do it, and you go figure it out with your squad and figure it out. So super excited for that gameplay. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So we just had a ton of people join. So a few things. Those who just joined, if you can like, comment, and share and things like that, that'd be super helpful for us to be able to get a little more reach, to get more people and grow the community. Obviously, the algorithm does not love airsoft content, so anything you guys can do is helpful. And then just to review just to run over things that you guys missed is we've got a pistol competition tomorrow at Advantage. We've got the build day at Midway this week, starting at 10 a.m. and a game afterwards. If you help build, you get a free game. And then next week, in 2 weeks, so October 2nd, is our first Stop the Bleed class, our first medical training we're going to be holding. So we got a guy outside coming in to train that. And Trevor, to answer your question, there really aren't any other details to talk about there. It's just a standard Stop the Bleed course, but it's something that everyone should go through at some point to learn how to keep the red stuff on the inside and not on the outside. So that's that's a quick summary of the things going on over the next couple weeks. As always, we've got more and more stuff coming up. It's going to be a super exciting winter, so you'll want to stick around. So we got that, and so what we're going to jump into now is talking a little bit about Legacy. Legacy Airsoft Events and Rentals is Ammon's company. Most of you guys have been to his games before, but we'd love to learn a little more about what's going on there. And do you want to just kind of talk about how you even ended up in doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved over to Idaho from Wyoming 4 years ago, and I stopped in at Cow Ranch, and I just bought a Game Face sniper rifle. Just a little Springer. Thought, oh yeah, this is, and I was like, wow, this is a whole lot better than it was when I was a kid.
Right.
Because pre that, it was like 2007, 2008 was the last time I had really played airsoft, when I was a younger kid, before I graduated high school, before I went on a mission, before I went to college. And so I was like, oh yeah, these guns are vastly improved from the transparent ones from Walmart that shot on fully automatic faster than I could use a Springer pistol faster than their automatic shot. And so I got into that, and I was like, wow, this is really fun. And then I don't even know why, but I brought up I Googled airsoft in Idaho, and it came up with Advantage. I was back when it was in Joseph's house. So I showed up, and I walked in the door, and I turned around, and Colby and Joseph who were in the shop that day. And I turned around and I looked at the wall and said, this is totally different than what I've ever experienced before in my life.
Right.
And so without asking my wife, I just walked out with 2 Specnas. Just kind of the basic, it'd be like a Lancer basic package now. Just a basic gun. Went out, and I had a blast with them. 2 weeks later, I was back in Advantage, and I bought 3 more guns for my nephews and my brother-in-law. And for that next 9 months, that's all I did. And then I went in to get BBs, and Joseph's like, hey, come out to the island. And it was the opening day of the island. And I went out, and I had a blast with every EIA. The group was incredibly welcoming, and I had a blast, and I went down a rabbit hole. And I have since, I won't say how much money I've spent, but I've spent a lot of money at Advantage Airsoft. We appreciate so many guns, so many BBs. I'm to the point now where I don't buy BBs by the container. Now I buy BBs by the rice bag, because I go through them too fast. But it was a lot of fun. And then about this time last year, a little bit before that, we had someone approach me at work and say, hey, I want to play airsoft. Do you have some extra guns? At which point I had 5 or 6 of my own. Never expected to have more than 5 or 6.
Yeah.
We took them out to Anthrax and had a good time. Just, 6 or 7 guys over at Anthrax, had a blast.
Yeah.
And that became every other week. Those guys were like, hey, we want to rent guns. And they started renting a few guns here and a few guns there. And then one of them had a birthday party in Island Park, and they took all 6 of my guns, and they rented them and took them up. And I said, hey, you know what? Actually, there's a space here. And I talked to Joseph, and Advantage was, they had it rentals at that point, but hadn't really been pushing it hard. And it wasn't something that Joseph said you guys wanted any part of anymore. It's a total headache sometimes. Yeah. And so I jumped in and said, yeah, I'll do it. And so then this year, and then I started looking for fields and we looked at buying some land to build some fields. And, our sale fell through kind of at the last minute on 5 or 6 acres that we had out in Roberts. We were going to try to build a field on. And then that came to this year, and the opportunity came to kind of help you and Joseph out and take that off you guys' plate, with as busy as Joseph already is in the shop and with life. And so I started running the island, and then Midway came around, and Joseph and I approached the landowner there for Midway and asked if, got permission to do whatever we want basically to that land within reason. Don't burn the place down, but within reason, we were able to dig the trenches and stuff. And as we started doing that, we had this year, I was talking to Joseph, I think we've had 8 or 9 people that rented in the last year from us, who then turned around and went to the shop and bought their own kits and are now actively participating in the community with us. And, you know, it was a great opportunity to help a lot of these younger guys get involved, you know, and they're the future of the sport. So last week we had a birthday party where we had 6 guys, 6 kids come out. They rented the stuff. They got to go play at Midway. And it started getting to the point now where we needed significantly more replicas to meet the demand that we have. Now honestly, it's hard to imagine a party or company event at this point that we can't take care of. So
how many rentals are you up to right now?
Yeah. So we're up once we have some on order right now, but once they we're up to 20 M4s.
Man,
in our rental
that just blows my mind that it's going that well. It's great to hear. There's growing demand to get started in airsoft is, I mean, it's not comparatively to a lot of hobbies, it's really not terrible, right? But at the same time, like, it's an investment though. It's definitely a decision that's like, it's not just like, oh, let me just go grab some ice cream today. It's like, no, it's an active decision to go do all of this. And so rentals are the perfect like gateway to have them try the community out, see how they fit in, see if they like it. So man, I'm so excited that you were able to take that on, because we did not have the bandwidth to continue trying to build that out.
It's funny. I mean, every Friday night, my house is airsoft. There's M4s all over the place. I'm charging 30 batteries, you know, trying to get all the batteries ready, and you're waking up every 30 minutes to unplug a battery and plug a new one in. It's a lot of fun though. I honestly love our community. And I came in when it was Colby and Jagger, and you know, you and Braden were there a lot, and Joseph, and I loved that community. And a lot of those older guys have kind of, you know, they've moved away. Life happens. They've had to go to greener pasture somewhere else. And so it's great to see these younger kids coming in, and these younger guys coming in, or guys that they're adults, they just haven't experienced it yet, come in and being able to say, hey, you know, if it's me, I'm getting ready to look to building an HPA to join the HPA crowd.
Yeah.
And as I'm looking to do that, I was telling Blake today, he was working on one of my guns. I was like, I don't want to come in on the low end and then feel like in 6 months I'm going to go buy a new system that's a better system. And I've done that so far, where I started with the Specna, and then I went up to a Cyma QBS, and I've built up my own personal replica that I use, and and I've upgraded stuff. And so I can understand not wanting to, you know, even a basic package where it's a really good deal, but at a couple $100, I can understand why you're 15 or 16 and it's like, oh man, that's painful.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, come rent a gun at Midway for $20, come rent a replica, experience it. And then you say, hey, you know what, for what I see and whoever's got here, that basic package that I use is going to work great. It's going to be just fine for me for now. Or you might be able to say, hey, I want to rent a Cyma. I want to rent a QBS. Well, we can help you with that. I have Cymas that I can rent. They don't rent for $20 because it's a more expensive gun, but you can experience that replica with a better one, or an LMG or a sniper, and you can experience a different kind of replica that you find out that, hey, this is the route I want to go, and it's going to be a little bit more expensive up front, but in the long run, I'm going to save money.
Yeah, especially when you start looking at some of the different roles. Like I remember when Novrich was in his heyday, you know, like that everyone was watching Novrich videos. Everyone was like, I want to be an airsoft sniper. I was like, do you? It's hard. Being a sniper is hard. Yeah. I've had one, this is going to be a little side tangent, but it'll be a fun discussion. So the AA T10, the Action Army T10 sniper rifle, it is, I think, the most beautiful sniper that has ever been built for airsoft. It's modeled after a real gun. I don't know exactly what the real one is called, but it doesn't have trademarks or the licensing. And so it can't be sold in the States. And so I've been trying to find one that's already been imported because I don't want to deal with all of the hassle of importing it. And I found one today from a buddy of mine who I haven't talked to in a while, but I found it on Hop Up. And I was like, dude, do you still have this? It was like a year-old ad on Hop Up. And I was like, there's no way, but let me just shoot him a message. So I shot him a message. I'm like, dude, can I get this off of you? I really have been looking to build one of these. So I don't know. We'll see if the sniper build happens. I'm getting really close with my MP5 build. I'm HPAing. It'll be the first one I've done. I'm really stoked for that one. But we may see a HPA sniper. So I'll have expand past the M4s that I've been running for the last, I don't know, 15 years.
Yeah. Blake and Joe were just talking about HPAing one of my sniper rifles, and just to try. Honestly, I've only used a sniper maybe twice. Once at Bubble Land and once at Anthrax.
Yeah.
It usually isn't my gameplay. I like to sneak in and get somebody CQB style. I like to come through that forest trail or sneak up and be like, oh, yep, guess what? I caught you. I caught you with your pants down. And that's what I like. That's my style of play. But watching Cam and some of the other snipers run, it looked pretty dang fun.
It looks really fun. That's exactly my thought. Run some heavy BBs, get some nice long floaters out there. Or we'll see if it happens. It's been a dream of mine for a few years, so we may do it. We'll see. So that's gonna be fun. But what? Obviously, I don't want you to give away too much. But can you talk about some of the plans at Midway? I know there's a build day this Saturday. That starts around 10. Do you have specific plans? Do you have I've heard whisperings of maybe buildings. I don't know if that's true or not. What's kind of the hopes there?
Right now, we're really only using roughly 2/3 of that map.
Oh, wow.
We have behind the two trench lines on the south side behind that trench line, we've got like 60 yards of unused. It's just weeds that it's not being used at all. And then on the north side behind that trench is another 40 yards that's not being utilized.
Wow.
And so, right now we have our spawns aren't even at the ends of the field. And we would like to get to the point where you're spawning way at the end. And our current place of battle is just going to be no man's land that you have to fight over. But right now, if you push up to those trench lines, you're basically in each other's respawns and you're pinned and it's a devil of a time to get out.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm not sure if we're going to make to it this year or not. We would love to, but eventually what we would like to do is after that trench line, we would like to expand the trenches backwards so that you can run in a trench all the way up to no man's land to get into the fight. But we want to put buildings and pillboxes and bunkers all the way back, fill the field out so that when you do a deep strike and you flank way in behind, man, you're going to have all kinds of cover back there. And as you die and you get pushed to respawn, you're going to have places you can push back and fight your way back into the field. And we think it's going to be great. In the meantime, I mean, right now we have 600 sandbags to go fill and fortify those trench systems. So right now the trenches are like waist high. We're going to sandbag those things up so they're chest high. You're going to come up solar plexus, and then we're going to have, our pillbox windows to fire through. And it's going to make like defend those trenches on an attack defend game. Right now, it's already difficult to take those trenches and kill everybody. Once we fortify those, man, we're going to have to balance the teams. And right now we're trying to go for a 3-1. We're going to need to go 4-1.
Dude, can you imagine though when Enola Gay restocks when you get those EG67s back?
Oh man, that'll change the game up completely.
All day long, just lobbing those down those trenches, man. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. As soon as they come in stock, we'll get them.
Yeah, this last time we had 3. We've done an attack defend before where we've had 3 LMGs in that trench. Yeah, 1 center, 1 on either end, and it is a bear to get those LMGs off those trench lines.
Oh, I bet.
It's so much fun. And so we're going to do that. The other thing that's going to happen more recently is we're going to put in towers. We have the big berm section, and we're going to mimic the tower that we have at the island, where it's just 6 feet off the ground with a kind of a wood palisade around it. And the plan is to have 4 or 5 of those towers scattered around through the map.
So are those going to be playable?
Yeah.
I know at sometimes at the island it's a hit or miss if it's in play, right? Sometimes it's a kind of an abandoned spot. So is the plan to make those 2 stories in play most of the time, if not all the time?
Yeah, the plan is to make those in play. And so
okay.
I would love to see snipers dueling across the map from up in those towers.
That would be cool.
And just giving it to each other. And so, yeah, those are going to be in play. We've talked about just raised up panels, just a small platform for snipers to get up, and just 5 or 6 feet of elevation changes the entire map.
Oh, totally does. Totally does.
If you can get 5 feet off the ground, you can see everything.
Especially if you got a sniper or DMR that's actually got a significant amount more range that can punch through some brush. Man, that can really change how the game is played in a significant way.
Yeah.
Well, guys, what do you guys want to see? Those who are watching, do you have any ideas of what we should put on Midway? I don't know if Ammon's taking ideas, but
absolutely
take ideas now.
On Saturday, honestly, we would love to have a moment where we just kind of walk the field on Saturday and just have a brainstorm session where we're just like, hey, let's put a building here. Let's put a tower here. Right now we have that forest trail, and there's those 3 big pallets that kind of make a small little rectangle U. I would love, and part of my plan right now is to put like a 16 by 16 building in there.
Ooh.
That has a room separated. So you're CQB and you're pushing. You have 2 doors on opposite kitty corners with a wall in the middle. So, man, if you could take that building and control it, you're going to have the field all up to you, but it's not going to be easy to hold.
Have you seen the building at what's the Burley field called?
Yeah, the Air Combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that building. It's pretty awesome.
Dude, doing something like that out there would be amazing.
Yeah. And then we're looking at doing something similar to that, where it's just, we just want it to be able to be add a CQB element to it, to the game style out there.
Well, I think it'd be really interesting. Again, we're thinking big long term, right?
Right.
But if you could kind of build something like that in the middle, if I recall, it's like 4 rooms are like 16 by 16, give or take.
Yeah.
And so that's built in a really cool way. But then you basically use that as a center and just slowly build down on both ends, so you can not turn the whole thing into CQB, right? Because we want Midway to stay the way have a lot of that the characteristics it has, because it's awesome. But it'd be really cool to be able to add adding more hard cover and smaller buildings and things, because that'll make the field feel even bigger than it already does.
Right.
So I think that would be super cool to do.
Yeah, absolutely. The fun thing is, in terms of size, Midway's actually bigger than the island.
That's crazy. It doesn't feel that way.
Longer. It's almost twice as long.
Okay.
And it's wider than the island.
Really?
It is. So it's wider by the island by like 15 yards. What the island allows you to do, though, because of the way it's separated, you have the fence and the tree line there between lumberyard and the garage, and you have the forest trail on the north side, and you have the town. You really broke up the field. Is broken into 4 separate segments.
Yeah.
And that allows 8 guys, 10 guys to fight at the garage and the lumberyard and never see anybody else on the field.
That's an interesting thought. I didn't think about that. You're right. That totally breaks the field up.
It breaks the field, and it makes the field bigger, even in a smaller space. So some of the things we want to do it at Midway is to build like fence lines that you might be able to see someone through it, but something where it's going to be hard to shoot through that fence. Yeah. And to try to segment off, different battle zones, so that, hey, this is you can flank into those areas, but that makes the field feel bigger. There's times at the island I've spent a 20-minute game and I never leave the lumberyard or the garage, and I'm having the fight of the day. I throw 1,000 BBs in that fight, and I never leave that spot the whole time, and you never leave the bunkers. And we'd like to get midway to the point, because right now it happens all the time. You'll be walking down the forest trail and someone from the berm will see movement and they'll lob a BB all the way over, and then you just get tagged and you're like, whoa,
what the heck?
Where did that even come from? And some of that is the character that we want to maintain, so that you do have to watch all your sides, but we do want to segment the field a little bit so that it has more of a, it makes the field feel bigger, even though it's smaller. Because the hard part with any of our fields, and that's true of the Haunted Hospital, Bubble Land, none of them are as big as what we would wish we had. We wish we had 50 acres of playable space, and we just don't, and it's almost impossible to get that.
Yeah, at least right now. Maybe one day. Yeah, but maybe I think you're right. I think if we're able to work that land that we have there in a way to really break up the environment and things, I think you can make it really, really playable and feel really big comparatively to what it is now. Because I think about I remember opening day at Air Combat. There was very similar setup to Midway. You've got a handful, like obviously there's a lot more growth at Midway, which is way better. But when they launched, it was very much, they just threw out as much cover as they could, but it wasn't enough to make it really feel big. Now, when you go out there, it feels like a massive field that plays totally different. It's just a whole other ball game in a very good way. And so I think we're going to see that happen at Midway over the next year or two. I mean, my expectation is next year is going to play totally different even. And so, because you'll probably do more build days between now and next year is my guess.
Yeah, we'll do build days, and we'll have more equipment out there doing. I mean, Joseph and Caleb and I and Turner were out there for. I think Turner brought out equipment 2 or 3 times, and Joseph and Caleb were in Mini X's one day for 7-8 hours straight, pizza in the middle kind of a thing. But we were just in machines, digging those trenches and bunkers, and we finished and we're just like, man, how much does it cost to buy one of these? Because we have hours and hours and hours more work than the rentals for 8 hours, and we're like, man, we wish
a lot.
We should really get a week-long rental of this thing to actually be able to swing what we need to. But reality is it costs a lot of money, and Joseph and Caleb and I and you and everyone has jobs. Airsoft is our passion. Not, unfortunately for most of us, it hasn't reached a point where it's our career as much as we would love it to become that. That's the hope.
For Joseph and I,
it's your career. I would love it to become that for myself. I don't know when or if that's ever going to be in the cards, but I would love it to be the case.
I think it's totally possible. If we play our cards right, I think we can totally make it happen for you, man.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see it happen. I'd love to see it happen.
I think it'd be great. And we're still keeping our eyes out. We would love to, any kind of indoor arena or bigger fields. We're always going to be watching for that kind of stuff. And we're going to do a lot of, in the next year, we're going to do a lot of themed games, a lot of Milsim Light. And we're just we're going to really spend a lot of time focusing on, some of those bigger events, the Potato Rebellion, the Spud Wars, and this year we did a Star Wars game. It was super lame. I planned out. It was like we took over the island. It went right when we were starting. It was like, hey, we need to have a Star Wars game in a week and a half. And I was like, that's not enough time to plan. Really cool,
here we go.
We'll go with it because it's got to be in May, and so we'll go with it. So like this next year, we'll have an awesome Star Wars game where a lot more planning involved, and we're excited for where this can all go, and where we have the rentals and stuff. Private events are becoming a bigger and bigger thing, where it's like, hey, a bachelor's party, or we have a BYU Idaho, you want to have a Eldridge Quorum activity for your singles ward or something, we can outfit you.
Yeah.
We can get you out there. We can get you on the field to play, and then we can direct. For us, it's all about getting people into the sport. We help people open the door to get in. Okay, now you know how much fun it is. Go get your own kit. Go kit up.
Yeah.
That's when it's a lot of fun. Because we love our rentals. But when it's a lot of fun is when you get your own kit, you have ownership of your stuff, and you get to put your own flair on what you got.
Well, it's for me, when you have your own stuff, it's that much more fun because you have your own stuff. You built it out yourself. It's usually more comfortable. It fits you better. All of that stuff. But I do want to recognize this comment here from Chandler. He's just got to the conversation. Would you all want some thick old barn wood for trenches / bunkers? It's possible of me getting a bunch for you all locally in Rigby. So, Am, is that something you'd be interested in? Is some extra wood from Chandler there?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely
right?
Stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, so any kind of building materials. Michael Bell gave us a bunch of pallets.
Awesome.
We got all the tires that are lining the north trench. All came from another, member of the community. That kind of stuff is invaluable. We can get it, but any improvements on the field happen as fast as we can afford those improvements. And so if we can, if people are donating even something silly like a silly pallet that's like, oh, this is just a pallet. Hey, you can build buildings with pallets.
Yeah, you can. We've seen it done many times.
Yeah. I mean, you might not want to live in it, but you can play airsoft in it all day long.
Exactly. Yeah, guys. So Chandler, definitely reach out to Ammon or probably directly out to his page, Legacy Airsoft events and rentals. And if anyone else has any kind of building materials, feel free to shoot us a message or Ammon a message, and we can get that stuff over to him for sure. And if you need help hauling, I think we probably have access to some trailers as well. That we can put stuff over there. So yeah, if you guys got any kind of building materials, definitely let us know. We'll take everything and anything for the most part to get this thing built, because the more stuff, more access to stuff that we have, the better. And Ammon, follow up with me later. I may have a place to get more building materials, possibly. Awesome. But follow up with me in a week or two when I have more information on that.
Okay.
But yeah, is there anything you guys want to talk about? Any question you guys got? Anything on your minds? Trying to think. That's just about everything we had. Oh, that's a really good question. Did you see that, Ammon, pop up?
Yeah, I do. Chandler? Chandler. Shovels, wheelbarrows. Those are honestly wheelbarrows right now. So we have those bridges as you come out. Those bridges have a 14-inch step to get on the bridge, which is ridiculously high. You don't want that high. And we want to be able to point where we can take, our plow for the winter to keep the field open and just drive right up and over those bridges. The bridges are built to withhold that kind of weight. So we're going to be gathering dirt and we're going to be digging holes there's going to be digging. See, Joseph's wife does this too. This is a problem. Joseph and I might just need to say our wives can't get on here.
We can ban them. We can ban them.
But so we'll use wheelbarrows. We'll dig pillboxes, and as we're digging that kind of stuff, we'll haul the dirt to the locations that we need it, and then we're going to be filling sandbags, hauling sandbags, stuff like that. It's going to be invaluable this Saturday. Awesome. Any kind of, and then lumber, stuff like that. I'm going to haul a bunch of lumber and fence posts and stuff like that. We have enough guys. I have enough posts and poles. We can start a fence where we're going to segment part of the field off from the other side. And I've got doors. I've got posts. I've got like 40 doors from an old hotel in Jackson. They're giant fire-rated doors. They weigh like 130 pounds each. They're a bear to move. But man, we could do almost maze style crap with those things, and like it'd be ridiculously cool. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff where we're going to be able to put that kind of stuff up on the field this Saturday. Hopefully there's going to be stuff for everybody. I promise we won't get to a point where we're going to have guys standing around saying there's nothing left to do. There's going to be stuff to do. I promise.
So Chandler, to answer your question, it sounds like if you got tools, bring them. If you don't have tools, bring your body. We'll use you either way.
Yeah.
But wheelbarrows are great right now.
Wheelbarrows, shovels, stuff like that. I'll bring some extra stuff, the stuff that I have, but the more we got, the best. Yeah. TJ, railroad ties are huge. Honestly, railroad ties make really great bases for buildings because they're heavy. They're not going to lift up in the wind as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want concrete.
TJ, if you've got old cars that we can use and railroad ties, definitely shoot Ammon a message. I don't know what the situation is with cars out there, or whether the situation with city is for cars. I know there's some cities that won't allow cars on fields, but Manan's pretty chill, honestly, so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I think technically we're not in any city limits. We're out in the county, so
we might be okay then. That'd be awesome.
Split the baby right between Louisville and Manan, and we just split the baby there. So I think we could put it just about anything we have that, if we had, I'd love to put a bus out there, guys. Find me a bus. And we'll have
donate a bus and we'll use. I know Milsom City down in Utah has a bus on their field. Not sure where it came from, but it's pretty fun to play in for sure. So I think cars are just interesting. I don't know what makes them so fun to play around. I think it's just because they're kind of weird shapes. But they're something that you'll encounter in the real world. So I really like playing around cars. I think as long as they're kept safe and things like that, because obviously if they've got any jagged edges, you don't want that on the field. But
we have enough problems with metal right now. We don't need to.
Exactly. So yeah, if we get, I would love to get a couple cars out there if that fits within the plan of what's going on out there in Midway. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys got access to anything, bring them on out. And I bet you anything, I'm going to speak for Ammon here again. If you bring out a car or something, you might be able to talk them into a free game day or something.
Absolutely. 100%. So yeah, I think we're super excited about this field. And it gives us a great place to play where we can clear stuff out during the winter. I mean, that's always been the issue.
Yep.
The island closes down and Bubble Land has waist deep snow.
Yep.
Anthrax has knee deep snow, and we won't get Anthrax back probably. And so between the three, it's like, man, where are we going to play this winter? And it's no, like, all winter long. Last winter it was like, hey, let's try to put up a game up at Bubble Land. I went to one. I'm a lightweight, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm falling into my waist. This is not fun. And I shouldn't say it wasn't fun. It was fun. It was just fun in a completely different way.
Yeah.
So
I love playing in the snow to a point. When it's up to your waist, that's a little bit more difficult. I know I've got snowshoes now, so I kind of want to try at some point. I think that'd be kind of fun to try playing in the snow when it's that deep. So,
the guy that owns the Midway field, has an awesome. He goes up with his buddies, and they use airsoft as training rather than as a game.
Yeah.
And honestly, they have some ridiculous. Like they go up in January into Island Park and do 20 on 20 force on force for 3 days, and you camp.
What? How have I not been invited to this? What the heck, guys?
You bring your stuff up. You're making your own camp. You're sending scouts out. You're in constant contact for 3 days, and man, it sounds like so much fun. And then I think about, man, you'd have to use snowshoes. You'd have to. They're fighting off snowmobiles. Like, sounds so much fun, but it's certainly a higher speed than anything that I'm used to.
That sounds kind of fun, but also miserable at the same time,
Yeah.
So I've also heard rumors about another field potentially that you are working on.
Yeah. So right there, kind of in the Midway area, what we're talking about doing is we would love to put together a Speedsoft CQB field, kind of like what we have at like Redneck Paintball, or go out, please, where we have Redneck Paintball, or any of the paintball courses where you're way closer to quarters. You're getting into it.
So then, are you thinking like CQB where it's super tight corners and buildings kind of thing, or are you thinking more like tournament style paintball-esque Speedsoft SpeedQB style?
So Blake, I'm sure, wants something more similar to just like a Speedsofter course.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of the old tournament style paintball that I used to watch on some random sports channel.
Back in like early 2000s when it's major big.
Yeah, and I would love to be like, hey, squad on squad, we're in a 5-man squad. We set a timer. First team to eliminate the other side wins. You'd be CQB where the guys like baseball slide around a corner, shooting their guns and kill the guy from 2 feet away. I think it sounds like a blast.
Dude, you should look specifically at SpeedQB. That's very much so. SpeedQB is a brand, and basically they have made tournament style paintball adapted to Airsoft, and it's pretty sweet. Now to actually play the game of SpeedQB, that is going to be like trademarked, and you have to buy into that whole thing, which you could totally do. It's an option. But look at that game format, and a lot of indoor places mimic those style fields. And I think something like that would be incredibly fun.
Yeah, it would be so much fun. I'll look into that. We've looked at several different things as far as licensing something like a SpeedQB or a skirmish airsoft and getting them out on our fields. We're not opposed to doing that. If I think it's worth it up. It's hard up front, but I think in terms of what it brings to the community, I think it's a fun flair that adds a whole lot of depth and dimension to what we already do. I think it's a great idea.
Something else that Trevor and I were talking about is doing a whole kill house kind of thing. And I think Trevor's working on some stuff there. Trevor, if you're not working on that anymore, you should let me know, because we can possibly make it happen somewhere else. But doing a whole, what's that game? If someone knows that, what's that game called? I have no idea. I'm not a gamer, but I've played it like twice in my life, and it's super fun. It's like a 5v5 shoot house type of game. Someone watching, I know you guys know what it's called, and I just cannot remember what it is for the life of me. CSGO, possibly. I don't know if that's right. Trevor and I were talking about it the other day. Yeah, if I find out, I'll send you a video of it so you can see what I'm talking about. But it's super cool because it's like objective based, and it's I'm doing a terrible job trying to describe this because I haven't played a whole lot. But basically, it's 5-on-5, I believe, and you're able to set up barriers and things, and you have to go in, like, it's either set a bomb off or kill everyone in there or something. I can't remember exactly what it is. But it looks super fun. And I've never seen it replicated well in an airsoft situation. And that's something that could be really, really interesting to kind of try and tackle. Now, the biggest thing is building something large enough to make it work. And that's the big thing, is we have to figure out a way to make a big enough indoor place or some kind of CQB place to make it work. And you need a fair space, but it would be so fun.
That would be a blast. trying to think. There's a few different places we've looked at for indoor fields. It's just we haven't explored any of them as deeply as we should probably. We need to find ones that are probably for lease or rent rather than ones that are for sale, because
it's expensive.
That's the painful part. But yeah, I mean, we're always looking for. I think it's a great idea. We've talked about using, like, they have the old canopies, and we've talked about using those as, separating those off into buildings with Joseph. He has a bunch of them, and and we're gonna try to build another field. Hopefully this spring we'll get into another field. And honestly, we can't have enough fields. That's not possible. So
too many. Yeah. Man. Oh, it looks like the stream is stuttering. Sorry guys. If it's stuttering, I apologize. It may be on my end there. I may need to look at another situation for streaming in the future. So thank you for letting me know. Hey, Trevor, if I'm not stuttering, what is that game we were talking about? What was that? Oh man, it's killing me. I don't think it was CSGO. Try and remember what it was called though. It's driving me nuts. And Google is coming up short for me.
Yeah, I have no idea. Tyler seems to think it's CSGO, but
I'm almost positive it's not CSGO. I know CSGO is it's a popular and very similar, but it's not that. Let's see here. I am just going to scroll through this random list of top first-person shooter games and see if it is in there. Oh, that's what it is. Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six Siege. That's what it is.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
Yeah. Doing something like that would be absolutely incredible. So we should think on that this winter, dude, and see if there's a way that we can feasibly make that happen in a good way next year. Because that would be, I think we'd break the internet. So if we got really good content from it, like, dude, we would blow up. That'd be so interesting on how to do that. But we should put our heads together and see. We should put our heads together. I bet if we do it right, we can make it happen.
Yeah,
that would be fun. Super cool. It'd be super cool.
Yes, Trevor, that would make a good search and destroy mode. That would be.
Yeah, EG67s in a crate. That's a cool idea. We need to be able to get EG67. Dang it!
Yeah, so we have these. We have these giant. They're not giant. They're like 16 inches by, like 16 by 16 by 8 ammo cans that we got from our Army Surplus store.
Yeah.
And we would love. We did a game mode where you had to haul them around. And we just filled them full of metal to make them heavy. We did it up at the island this year. We would love to do one where it's like padlocks and crap on it, and you put something like EG67s in it. And you got to go around, you find intel on the field, come back, and hope your combination works, and you open the crate. And when you open the crate, your team gets to use whatever's in it. And so scatter that kind of stuff around the field would be a lot of fun for any of the game modes. It'd be a lot of fun. Like, you weren't there. That's last week. We did another four-way capture the flag this last weekend up at Midway. And something like that, man, if you came across a bunch of EG67s, you'd destroy everybody. It'd be so much fun to do that.
Oh, that'd be cool. Well, guys, I think we are just about out of time tonight. So if there's any other questions or anything else you want to talk about real quick, drop that in the comments. But just to repeat some of the stuff from the beginning, we've got our pistol competition tomorrow. We've got build day out on the island on Saturday, and free play after that.
Midway,
to help build.
Not the island, Midway.
Oh, Midway. I misspoke there. I apologize. And then we've got the Operation Return to the Farm on the 28th, which is another free game, which will be awesome. And then the last thing we'll bring up now is our first medical training class. It's the Stop the Bleed class. It's a national course. It's going to be awesome. And so if you can make that on the 2nd, that'd be amazing. Again, that's a free class, and it'll be a great time. So if you can make that, that'd be awesome. So yeah, if you guys have any other thoughts, Ammon, do you have anything else you want to end things with tonight?
No, I think we're good. I think I'm excited about the training options that are going to start coming into the community, whether it's CQB training that we can work out, rifle competitions where we did the carbine competitions, bringing those out to Midway and doing it longer ranges, a lot of those more training aspects to this, I think is such a fun and unique option that I feel like is available in a lot of other places, but we haven't really brought to EIA yet. And where we have Joseph, man, he's got all of the certifications to teach us whatever we could dream up. And there's so many different options there that for the community at large and the EIA community specifically, but even the community at large. I mean, if people want to come do a Stop the Bleed, that's not an EIA limited thing. If you're, spread that word. Everyone needs to spread that word. So it's, hey, this is a great community resource for the greater Idaho Falls, Southeast Idaho region, where it's like, hey, we can teach this. We can teach alert. We can teach the various new training courses, handgun safety, rifle safety, courses to everyone. And Airsoft adds a different spin on that, where it's a non-lethal training mechanism to train with, to be prepared for all the other options that you hope never come your way, but you want to be ready for if they do.
Yeah. So next week we've got a lot of changes coming to the shop. It's all really, really exciting stuff. And we'll talk a lot in depth about that next week. We've got another guest coming on next week. Joseph should be back. So it'll be all three of us. And there'll be me, Joseph, and then another special guest that we'll announce a little bit later once we get everything confirmed. But we've got a lot of really exciting stuff coming to the community on top of everything that Ammon is doing out at Midway and the island and everything. So we've got so much exciting stuff coming. I'm really excited to announce that stuff to you. So you won't want to miss the next week's live stream. And so, yeah, again, thanks everyone for the conversation tonight. That was awesome. Ammon, thank you so much for letting us steal you for an hour tonight. We'll definitely have to have you on again at some point, because I know we had at least one request for that, but I think she was super biased. So yeah, we'll take that in consideration.
She has some kind of something's weird, but she's got something.
All right, guys. We'll look forward to talking to you next week, and we'll see you at the pistol competition tomorrow, and that's at 7:30 at Advantage. And then Midway on Saturday at 10 a.m. for build day and 3 o'clock for gameplay. And we will see you next week.
Awesome. We'll see everybody.
Bye.